Would you like to work closer to home, save money on gas, and be rewarded for your hard work and attendance? Then Bellisio Foods is looking for you. That's right, Bellisio Foods is now hiring for multiple positions and shifts with great employee benefits, an on-site health clinic, competitive wages, and advancement opportunities. Bellisio Foods is a company that truly values their employees. Apply online at BellisioFoods.com/careers.
Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Red's Roundup. And today we're going to talk about marketing and the future of one of our communities that we cover, Hamden, Ohio. This is the Hamden Fiscal Officer, Dea Mayle, and she has a lot of creative ideas. And she's a busy lady working on all kinds of grants and has all kinds of ideas for Hamden. But up front, Hamden's going to have a new window to the world. And why don't you tell us a little bit about the website that's under development?
We contracted with Apple City Computers to create a website. The website will have links for paying your water bill. All of our ordinances will be scanned and available online. There will be a link for paying mayor's court citations. There will be a history. Anybody is welcome to go and look at. Right now you can look. It's Ohio Hamden. Oh, wait a minute. It's hamdenohio.com, and you can explore what the website will be and what links there will be on the website.
There's some beautiful pictures on there. We were looking at it. That's one of the fall time in Hamden. Isn't that beautiful?
Yes, it is.
Out by the lake. And is that Lake Rupert?
That's Lake Elma.
Lake Elma. A beautiful time here in southern Ohio. The Appalachian tourism. The fall is just a beautiful time. People just drive around. And the weather's nice. So October is beautiful. So that's a great lead-in to the site. How did you, when you were speaking to Jason, and I mean, when you guys decided, it looks like it's a little bit of community information and practical use. How did you guys kind of decide what you wanted it to be?
With his guidance, Jason Cruz, that's the owner, operator of Apple City Computers, with his guidance, he made suggestions, and then with each of our departments, they all made suggestions of things that would be useful. And, of course, our council and mayor made suggestions, and we put it all together.
You know, I noticed that when the county treasurer's office and the auditor's office went to the computer pay, the money come in a lot faster because I don't think it was because people was dishonest or they just pay all their bills online, and then they had to go write Vinton County a check, and they might forget about it or send it in late. Now it just goes in with all the other bills, and the money just comes in.
People have become to where their time is very valuable, and it's easier just to go online and do a couple clicks and pay bills.
Now, can you pay the water bill online now?
Yes, you can.
So that'll be just integrated into this website.
Correct.
And it's got several links. It links to your Facebook. Mm-hmm. I was on your Facebook. You put a lot of stuff on there.
Try.
There's just a lot going on in Hamden right now, and the website's a great way to promote. And you've just got a long list of ideas, so let's talk about something new the village just got into. The council there in Hamden made a decision to contract police services with the sheriff's office. And can you tell us how that process unfolded?
Well, in February, we terminated our police chief, and we were in need of police services. Ryan Kane, the sheriff for Vinton County Sheriff's Office, contacted the village and requested that maybe we could negotiate a contract with them for our current levy amount every year. And he would pay above and beyond any costs that occurred after that levy money. Our levy really doesn't cover the cost of one officer and what they need to operate that department. And Ryan Kane was very generous in what he has given us in this contract. And with this contract, we have one full-time officer that is there 10 hours a day. And then every shift after that, like evening shift, night shift, there's an officer that spends so many hours patrolling the village. It's cut down on the traffic issues, drug activity, criminal activity. It's cut down on a lot. And the citation money still stays in the village.
Then that's important. You have to fund your street department, your water department. And I know Terry Federoth, the development director, she's working on a grant to make or a bid right now to make your entrance ADA compliant.
Yes. We're going to have a handicap entrance with one of the door assist buttons so the handicap can get in and out. It'll have a new ramp. It'll be centered where the windows are now, and the door currently will become a window.
Oh, okay. So there's going to be some changes there at the Village Hall. Mm-hmm. And I love the Village Hall. If you've never been to Hamden, one of the most unique features about the Village Hall, I'm sure you love this, that was a bank at one time, and they still have the safe in there.
We have the original vault door, and it is gorgeous. It is absolutely gorgeous.
You just couldn't take it out, could you?
No.
This wouldn't be the same without it. You also have been working on several grants, and you got an interesting idea that I found fascinating, and we discussed this when I dropped by to talk about the police situation. You'd like to see a new library come to Hamden.
Yes, that's my dream, is for Hamden to have a library. The kids are our future, and if we don't educate them and provide for them now, we don't have a future. Hamden will die off if we don't keep promoting progress, change, and it starts with our kids.
You have to, and you have, and you're talking about you'd like to see a brand new facility built.
Yes. I attended a meeting with the mayor and a council member, Mike Clare. We attended Ohio Municipal League Mayor's Partnership meeting in Wellston last month. And one of my questions to Senator Shane Wilkins was, why isn't there money for a new structure? I was told by different grant writers there was money to refurbish older buildings and put a library in there, but there wasn't money for a new structure. Hamden does not have any empty buildings to refurbish. A lot of those buildings have been torn down, or the ones that are usable are being utilized. I was told by Mr. Wilkins there is money available in the Cawley's office. He has sent me, between the Mayor's Partnership and the Ohio Municipal League and the Senator's office and the Governor's office, they have provided a whole team of grant writers, engineers, attorneys, contractors to get a lot of different things done for Hamden besides just the library.
There's a lot of valuable properties that have been torn down, including the old Hamden Junction. That was a county project. And there's been some houses.
Yes.
That old house that was sitting there for a long time that caught on fire years ago, that was finally torn down. And the county is also working through the Brownfield program with the goal of tearing down the former Hamden gas station.
Correct.
Gas station. So that will, and other buildings have been torn down, so that could make a nice lot for development. And we were talking before we went on how well the Dollar General store is done in Hamden.
Yeah, it's done very, very well. Did you know about the bike path
No, no.
I received an email about a month ago wanting us to back the current bike path from Wellston that goes to Lake Alma will continue through Hamden, on to MacArthur, on to Logan, and from MacArthur to Athens, Nelsonville. It's all going to connect. All the bike paths are going to connect all around all the towns close to us.
You know, Amanda Boying, the marketing director, she went to a conference, or the marketing director that's currently working for the county. If she goes to work for the new board, while this is in kind of limbo. But when she was the marketing director, she went to a conference on ecotourism, and this is where a lot of this bike path is coming from. And obviously, the bike paths are popular with Ohio University students.
Yes.
And which Amanda talked about monetizing, and that's what you're looking for. One thing that we've discussed is the lack of a restaurant in Hamden, a sit-down restaurant. I know that's on your list too.
Kinda. I have a long list. A lot of ideas, but a lot of people that aren't willing to change or the progress. They don't want things to change. They want it to stay the same it's always been. And the only way we're going to have a future for our children is if we change and keep up with the others.
Well, the area is definitely changing. You know, I remember one thing that I saw, I follow the green topics, and Columbus is the last city in the world. I didn't think it would ever happen, but they're finally putting in metro train system, and it should be running by 27, they say. And it's going to go pretty much citywide, and then they're going to build a 3C from Cincinnati to Cleveland, Dayton. The 3C plus D, they call it now.
Well, Vinton County is such a royal, spread out county, and, you know, our county seat being MacArthur. Yeah. And then like Hamden and Slasky and Wilkesville and Allensville, there's no public transportation. There is not a cab company. No. There's nothing, and that's on my list too. Is public transportation.
You know, that's something that I have been a proponent of. I felt like Pike County has it, so it's not that far away. Pike County has a county-wide CAT system. And it's not Medicare or anything based. It's just for the citizens there. They'll take you shopping. They'll take you to Waverly, Piketon, Woking, Walmart. Anywhere you want to go there in Waverly, they'll take you to Columbus.
Athens County has one too. Hawking County has public transit too. And it gets people back and forth to work that might not have accessibility to a vehicle or any other means to get back and forth to work or school or college, or so it would be wonderful for Vinton County to have that.
You know, they talk about back to the library for a minute. One thing Rio Grande discusses when they talk about branches is outlets.
Annex.
Yeah, outlets. Annexes where you start. Giving people a place to start. That's what branches do.
That's kind of what we're looking into, is inviting a current library to provide us with an annex, but we would build the building, and with it being an annex
to village owned.
It would be village owned, but they would provide the actual library, the staff.
Would you lease it to them, or give them one of those leases where it would be like $1 a year?
It wouldn't cost them to put the library there. They would just bring it would be an annex from their library into our building. We would just provide the building.
One of those $1 a year leases. You'd have to have something on paper.
Exactly.
But something. Fiscal officer, there's a lot to that. And we don't want to get too technical because we try to keep the show lighthearted, but just so people know kind of what you do, the UAN system is what you use. Just tell people a little bit about that and what it entails.
UAN is short for Uniform Accounting Network. It's a system that is provided by the Ohio State Auditor's Office, and most governmental entities use that system. It's a self-accountability system, plus the state can keep an eye on everything. But if everybody's using the same system, then there's no question if anything's messed up.
And another issue that you're looking forward to is, you mentioned the youth. You'd like to get the baseball fields fixed up.
Yes. Last year, we held the first annual Community Day hog roast. And we went by only donations. No one had to pay for food. There was bouncy houses. There was water slides, Dunkin' booths. There was a small Chinese auction. This year, we're expanding on a lot of that. That was to raise money for the baseball park and fields and the park. In one day, we raised $5,000, and that was donations only. This year, we're having a second annual, and this one, instead of being held at the baseball fields, I do believe that the committee has changed. Last year, I was on my own. This year, we have a committee. They want to use the street in front of Village Hall, and it would be August 31st, noon to 6 p.m. It would be operated the same as last year. There will be hot dogs, pulled pork, beans, and cornbread. That food is free. Donations, all we ask is for donations. I don't want there to be a kid that wants to ride a ride or needs a plate of food and doesn't have a dime to their name. I'd rather just, if you have $5, throw $5 in the bucket. If you don't have $5, it's okay. Someone else might pay 10 or 20.
Well, that's great, and that's a successful fundraiser last year. You did have a lot of nice. I know you had some entertainment. You had a big stage set up, and I think it'll be better at the town hall.
Last year we had Curtis Hayes. He DJ'd for us. This year we're going to have live music. If there's any local bands that would like to play as a donation to the village. We're also inviting vendors to set up booths. I don't know the price on that. I think they said $25. And there was something else and my mind went blank. It's also the same day the Hamden Volunteer Fire Department has their boot where they ask for donations for the volunteer. It is a volunteer fire department, so a lot of how it's run is based on donations. They also hold bingo every Thursday at the community building. Doors open at 5:30. I'm not sure about the cost of all that, but you could call into the office, 740-384-5359, and I'm sure somebody could give you that information.
You know, there's a lot, in a small town, there is a lot of planning that goes on. There's just a lot of issues to deal with. And you mentioned, go back to the police protection.
Mm-hmm.
I remember when there was the senior citizens in Hamden, a lot of them that wanted the police levy. They asked the council to put it on. And I think law enforcement, when you're trying to sell houses and provide communities, that's going to be a big pitch.
Yeah, you need law enforcement presence. One officer, and that's all we had, was responsible for everything. City ordinance compliances, any kind of violation with that. He was responsible for traffic patrol. There wasn't enough levy for a second officer, and there was too much work for one officer. This contract with the sheriff's office has eliminated the need to come up with more tax money. We have a strong presence of police now in our village. I don't worry when I take large amounts of money to go to the bank deposit. I don't worry. I always have an officer watching out for me.
Oh, then you don't realize what that is with all the problems that's out there today. But today's kind of like a pioneer time. It seems like a lot of things are being reinvented. Governor, and speaking about money, since you're the money lady in Hamden, what about this commitment Governor DeWine's making to our counties? $500 million.
I think it's awesome. And I think it's long overdue.
I mean, that's going to open the door to community
It's
college.
opened a lot of doors. Besides the community college, it also there's grant money now available to beautify Hamden, new sidewalks with brick accents, like a gazebo, park benches, new lighting. It's opened a lot of doors, and we are working. Well, there's people working. I think Terry Featheroff is the one that's working on getting us that grant money.
And one thing that Steve Hammond owns the hardware store there. He says he draws a lot of nostalgic tourists.
Yes.
What a place that is. It really takes you back to a different time, and it's been quite successful. It looks like quite a new business for the village.
Hamden is a historical little town, little village. It has a lot of aspects. There's the railroad company that I'm not sure when they were established, but it's very, very old, probably the 1800s, along with us. We were, I think, 1856. Some of our buildings were even before that.
The railroad, we could devote a whole episode to the Hamden Railroad stories. And I've heard that several U.S. presidents that's come through Hamden, especially the older ones where they came through on the trains. And they say that President Richard Nixon has relatives in MacArthur, in Vinton County.
I've heard those stories.
The trains.
We actually have a pamphlet that you can come into the village hall, and it's the history. It's a little book, and it's the history of Hamden. And it's got pictures and interesting stories. And
some of that's going to be on the website.
Yes.
The community, the history.
A lot of that's on the website.
So, tune into that, hamdenohio.com. For all the information on the village, and it's very much of the village's future and past. But I think for the future, what people don't understand about websites, and I do a lot of research. A lot of times you'll be in research and don't know it, and part of our problem for small towns is if you don't have a website, you don't get research. They don't come to your town anymore. They research it on the internet. So this could open up business possibilities. You never know who's looking at you on the internet.
Correct.
And information. You say you have your ordinance that's on the website. They can
Yes.
look at everything that they need to.
They'll
look
all
at.
be scanned in, and you can look up by code. You can look up by. There will be like keywords that will bring you to the ordinance that covers whatever the issue is.
That's going to be nice. Do you get calls from? Do you get calls from businesses? Do you? You said that you've had some interest in a couple different projects.
We've had a couple gentlemen stop in, interested in property to open a laundromat, and one who wanted to open a restaurant where the current empty restaurant is in the car wash. He wanted to purchase that property. Whether he did or not, I don't know.
And it looks like the condition of that building, I don't know if it could be rehabbed again.
I'm not sure.
It probably might be cheaper to tear it down and build something new.
They could get it tore down for free if they put on their list for our grant.
Yeah, and Hamden's really benefited from that. They have tore down, Hamden was one. Well, when they first got the grant, I think it was for one grant. I'm not sure if it was this one or an earlier one that the development department got, but it was for Hamden's and Dundas and Hamden, the properties there. Mm-hmm. Then it expanded county-wide. So Hamden's had this problem for a while, and they've really made good progress.
With one of the issues that we ran across with the abandoned houses was Hamden was top in the county for overdoses, deaths by overdose. And we worked with the Vinton County Health Department, and we actually have a Narcan box posted. It's on the outside of our village hall, and that has dropped 75% since that was installed. And we've not had any deaths since. Now, some people might be against offering Narcan for people that have addiction issues. I'm not. I'm for it, because every one of those people that have an addiction issue are somebody's child, somebody's mother, somebody's father. They're people, they need help.
Yeah, and certainly that's an issue that we deal with at Total Media. We try to look toward the positive, but we know it's there, and it's an issue that a lot of our social organizations come in on the various programs on our platforms and discuss what they're trying to do to help people. And but I think what Hamden's trying to do is what all small towns need to do: market themselves. And we talk a lot about Benton County tourism, have for 30 years, and Hamden's going to be part of that. And I think with the bicycle, that could be a game changer, and something that the commissioners have supported is the ATVs.
Yeah.
There's been a split on that issue. Some other organizations in the county is not for the ATVs, but do you think that could be coming down the road?
I think it's a good idea. In Nelsonville, they are ATV friendly. They actually have, I don't remember the name of the forest, Wayne National Forest, and they can come in and out of town. I think it would bring money into the county. I think it'd bring money into the village if they would open up that aspect of outdoors.
You know, one thing, Amanda Boying, when she was here, I mean, sometimes I think in Southern Ohio, and she made reference to this, we think monetizing is a dirty word or a dirty term, but I mean, some of these things, I know that seems to be the key word coming out of Columbus: monetize these events. Don't just have get-togethers, make money on them. And it appears that Southern Ohio, Benton County in particular, needs out-of-town money. And the Moonville, that's one of the reasons the Moonville is being moved to MacArthur. They're bringing out-of-town money. Would you like to hold an event in Hamden that's a little bit bigger than this, aimed at making some major money?
I would be open and willing to work with anybody that wanted to bring a large festival into Hamden. And there are areas, I believe there's a farm just south of the center of town. It's still within city or town limits, but he has offered his field.
There's certain things that work.
We used to have the Hamden Heritage Festival.
Yeah, I was thinking a little bit bigger
than that.
Something like the Sam Fest in Piketon.
Yes, or the Numbers Fest in Athens County.
Something that will, and that's kind of it's always an issue with money. It's a sensitive issue, I understand, because you can't do that. You can't sell tickets for $5 or something like that. The tickets are $30, $40, $50, and maybe things can be worked out to where, I remember in the South, they used to have a kind of a double system. I don't know if this is kind of goes way back. And, I've actually talked to the Apple Festival about this. When the big festival brings in someone, like Mark Wills is going to be at the Apple Festival this year. We'll talk about the local entertainment log in a moment, but what they'll do down south is the local theater, in this case, the Marquee, he would do a show there for like a limited show, acoustic show. And they could make some money on it. And then the night show would be free to the public, but a lot of times they would have, and I remember this too, they try to make it where everybody can come, but the expensive shows, one of the shows is going to be where money's made.
Yeah.
it's kind of a way to split it up. It's kind of an old-fashioned concept.
Well, anybody that comes in to perform, it costs them to perform. They have to pay their people to set up, tear down, their sound people. So they can't always afford to just do it for free for every town.
I know we run into issues where at the Turkey Festival, some of these things, and you're talking about balancing off money, which is your job.
Yeah.
You're always balancing the money. And
Hopefully it balances.
and you kind of get into, because you want everybody to go to. It's a shame that money's a divider sometimes. It works that way. I wish everybody could go to everything, and sometimes, like you said, there's a high cost to some of these things, and you try to. Some communities can balance it. Maybe at least they'll get to meet them. Maybe not at the Saturday night. Maybe I've seen them have shows on Thursday that's cheaper, and then they'll stay for a more expensive show Friday night that's bigger, and. But there's maybe different ways that you can balance that out to get more people involved. But I know the Bluegrass Festival at Piketon does very well. That's a big event.
Well, our music for the community day, we were welcoming local bands that would like to be heard, like to be out there. And Red, maybe you can come in and cover it and bring your cameras and. I have a lot of musical guests on this show, and that's one of the kind of the missions, to introduce local talent. Everybody was booked. I called several people today. I thought I had somebody, and they just had to back out at the last minute. But we always like to have some music on the show. But I think local events is where these people get started. So Yes.
remember that.
Yeah.
Remember that. So you raised $5,000 last year.
Yes. And after cost of holding everything, I still had 29, I believe 82 to the good.
Wow, that's fantastic.
I went on donations. It was a lot of legwork, and a little lady helped me tremendously. She was one of our employees' wives. She's a cousin to a judge in MacArthur. She did a lot of the legwork. She's retired, so she could get out and about more than I did. But between her and I, and Chuck Boyer, that used to be the mayor, he helped collect some of the money. But we went to area businesses. Crown Over Lumber always helps. Big time helps. The little sawmill there on 93, I can't remember the name of it. They always donate. We had a lot of big businesses donate. All of our local judges, Jim Payne and William Arthur and Jeff Griffith, and all the judges and a lot of the attorneys, all the commissioners, Mark Fout, he donated a lot of money too, helped put that together.
And, we kudos to all of them. And speaking of the website, there's going to be a story about it with this lady's picture in it. And but one of the things that you told me, and the website's not only going to be informational, it's going to be live. It's going to have the council meetings on it, and you're also going to post the minutes from the council meeting.
Correct.
That ought to be a valuable addition to the community.
There's a lot of elderly or people with mobility issues that can't come to the meetings, and our village hall is small, not much different than this room we're in, and there's not a lot of space for people to come to meetings. I think everybody and anybody in the public has a right to be present, and if they're held live, then they could text in a comment that I would read to the council, or they can hold their comments for the next meeting and email me, and I will read them to the council. With the minutes being posted and the ordinances being posted, it helps with records, not just retention, but records request. People can go and find it themselves, and it saves a lot of time and money.
Again, it's just communication is, people just don't, there's not as much foot traffic as there used to be for government offices. You said that online's replaced pretty much the former foot traffic. Now, does Hamden have a YouTube channel, or how are you going to, or what's it on Facebook? How are you going to be able to watch them?
Well, that's to come. I got the idea actually watching town meetings from Nelsonville. And when I lived in that area, and I worked at the jail there, I would watch the town meetings live. TV 10 was the channel that held them, that would, for free, you could watch all the meetings, and on their website they would have the minutes afterwards.
Well, I think there's all kinds of people who are interested. You'd be surprised at the interest in Benton County. I interviewed the Inner Tribe and Joyce Peters up at the Alice House. I think all kinds of people come in, want to know about the history of Benton County. I think history marketing is going to be part of certainly the Moonville Tunnel.
Yeah.
What a story that is.
I would like to see our railroad do like, I'm not trying to keep saying Nelsonville, but Nelsonville and their scenic railway. Why can't we have that in Hamden? We have a railroad company. We have a railroad. Why can't on Saturdays or Sundays we, have it open to the public?
Well, in Western Kentucky, there's that dining car.
Yes.
The Western Kentucky dinner train.
Yeah.
It's very popular, and they also have that in Arkansas. Excuse me, at Eureka Springs, Arkansas. They also have a train.
I have a lot of big ideas, but it all comes down to red tape. It's what the council and the public want.
Well, I think the library is very intriguing. I think getting the ball fields fixed up.
Yeah, well, with the grant for the ball field, we're going to get bathroom facilities, lighting. It'll have the proper drainage. New parking lot. The park will be upgraded. I'm working, hopefully, we'll have a bike, skateboard, obstacle course there at the park. There's too much space to connect the two, but that's one of the things that the state had said would be a good idea, would be to connect the park and the ball fields. Maybe we could at the ball fields. I'm not sure about that yet, but the library is my main goal.
Well, that could be a great thing. We want to talk about next week's show real quick. We're going to come back and talk more about Hamden and the future of Benton County after we see this clip, but wanted to give you take a little break here, and we got a video to show. Next week's guest is going to be a man who is making a splash in the area. He's a classic country singer from Columbus, and I met him over at Scotty's in Wellston. I think he's played at Club Vinton. He's played in Waverly and Chillicothe. Sean Avery, he's going to be joining us next week here on the show, and we're also hoping to play at least part of that interview with him on Hank FM, our new classic country station. And if you like the older country, you're going to like this guy. He plays some Conway Twitty, sings a lot of that. George Jones, stuff from the 70s, 80s, and 90s. A real talented guy. And we caught him over at Scotty's. And if you want to put his picture up there before we go to the video, Hayden, we can see what he looks like. And he's kind of a big guy. He's a Grove City fireman. So if you like classic country music...
Not big on country, to be honest, unless, I like classic.
There he is right there. Let's hear from him now to see what he did over at Scotty's, and you make sure we're going to preview this, and we'll be back to talk more about Hamden after we see a little preview from next week's guest.
Bring a tear to a glass eye, I promise you. I said that once down in Myrtle Beach. Went down, my father-in-law rode down to Myrtle Beach for bike week. We pulled into the condo, and them guys are all out there cooking steaks, and said, "Hey man, park your bikes, we're cooking up ribeyes." I said, "All right, cool man." So we parked our bikes, we come back down, and guy hands me this great big old ribeye steak, and I cut off a big piece of it and take a bite. He got sunglasses and stuff on. He says, "How's that ribeye?" I said, "It sure beats a hot poker in the eye." He takes his glasses off, pops out that eye and throws it to me. He goes, I wouldn't know. I'm like, just gave it back. Like, man, I didn't see that one coming. Neither did he, but on that one side anyway. That's a true story. It's like, wow, he just popped it out and threw it to me. I'm like, I should have swallowed it. I said, you can get it back tomorrow. Here's a sad song. I hope you like it. Pardon me. I need to buy some roses. Would you wrap them in some paper and glue? For a long time I forgot how much she loved them. So now every day I'll make sure I bring some home. I'll buy her roses, sweet red roses, and heaven knows she deserves the very best. I'll buy her roses, pretty roses, because loving her is as good as love can get. Yes, ma'am, in a car. With love to someone special, so she will never have to wonder if I care. And then someday she should come back home again. There'll be a house full of roses waiting there. I'll buy her roses, sweet red roses, and heaven knows she deserves the very best. I'll buy her roses, pretty roses, because loving her is as good as love can get. I'll tell you, loving her is as good as love can get. I'll buy her roses.
All right, that's Sean Avery. He's going to be with us next week, and he'll have that guitar with him. And we'll never know what he might sing with, so we're going to have a lot of music. And I'm hoping to bring in another guest remotely. We're going to talk to him about that. We're going to see, before I say anything, I want to talk to him, make sure he'll come on with us. But he's kind of an expert on old country music, so we're going to do some vintage work next week. But during the break there, we were looking at your phone. Looks like a lot of people's watching today.
Yeah, I'm raising 5 grandbabies, and they're watching me, and they're all yelling, "That's my nene."
Got something from Morgan County?
Yes, I have some friends in Morgan County. They're watching Hawking County, Athens County.
Well, and not only are we on the several streams, we're also live on the radio today. 105.3. That's Fox Sports Radio. We're on the Total Media radio app across the country. And and that's where, the reach that we have at Total Media, 24 radio stations now. And we just happen to be on one of them, the one here in Jackson. But we're glad to have your radio audience and anyone listening on the stream and the Facebook platforms that we have. We're talking about Hamden, and Hamden is a small town, about 1,000. Do you have 1,000?
Just under 1,000.
Just under 1,000, and we're looking to modernize it and improve it. And this website goes a long way in really marketing the village, and all these other ideas. And it looks like Mayor Neri has supported a lot of these ideas and introduced them to council.
Yes, we have a very good mayor. He's a good man, and he thinks about the people in the community.
I know he's not from here, and this is his first venture into politics. And he's come up with some interesting ideas for a small town. And I think the laundry mat's a good idea because we certainly have a shortage of them. There is a new one in MacArthur that's very nice, but it's a smaller one, so there's certainly probably room for maybe another one. And just basic services that small towns have lost over the years, trying to recreate them.
With no public transit, and people that don't have laundry facility in their homes, they need a place they can go that's close by.
When you look ahead, does Hamden have a basketball court? Is there some basketball courts?
No.
Is that something you'd like to?
Yes. What we have I think we might have a hoop there at the park, but it's just like a little portion of a court. I want to see outdoor activities for the kids. I want them to have something to look forward to or something to keep them occupied besides mischief. And, athletics teaches discipline, and it teaches motivation and teamwork. And if we have more of that in our village, I believe the kids would have a good start.
One thing that Hamden's proud of, you always see it with the fair coming up, the Hamden Engineers, the 4-H club, and we also see the Girl Scouts selling the cookies. First Girl Scouts I ever saw taking the credit cards was the Hamden Girl Scouts. They said they sold more cookies that way.
Our 4-H club actually helped with our spring community cleanup day. They came and picked up trash throughout the town and helped people unload their trucks into the dumpsters. And
well, I tell you, keeping the town clean, it's
a job.
Oh my goodness, it's nice that the kids jumped in and helped. I think that gives. I talk to a lot of guidance counselors, and I think you wouldn't believe it's the little things like that that give kids a sense of accomplishment. They've actually done something to help that's appreciated.
People are notorious for jumping kids and not praising kids, and good rewards is what inspires them to keep going and trying harder.
Hamden, you got a big project underway that we didn't mention yet. You're trying to improve your sewer treatment plant.
Correct. We've applied for grant money to help with storm drain issues. There's some filters at the sewer plant that should have been changed years ago, but there just hasn't been money. But there's grant money available now, and we're hoping we get it this time around.
It's just finding money. In your job, what made you want to go into financial management?
I don't believe I ever did want to go into it. When I took on raising extra children, I was retired on disability from corrections, and that doesn't pay the bills with extra children in the house. And so I went back to work, and when I went to college the first time around, finance was one of the things that I studied and went into then. And so I switched back to my roots.
Oh, okay. Well, I tell you, the money's been good this year in Ohio. A lot of grants that's been given out, and I think our kids. Let's go back to Rio Grande because I'm really excited about. To me, other than the high school passing, I think that was one of the most exciting days I've had in Benton County. In about 2 weeks, I'll be here 30 years. And
Congratulations.
I don't know if that's good or bad. Sometimes I think they're going to lock me out of the county. I don't know. But I've been here 30 years, and I think other than the high school opening, when you talk about what Benton County did to get that high school, it's remarkable. And they took a very unconventional path to what it's a beautiful building up there now. And look what it's led to. You talk about building blocks.
Well, that little girl, all those years ago, when she stood at that podium and she says, we're small and poor, but don't we deserve what the rich kids get? That has been my inspiration and driving force. I think about that little girl every time I get disheartened or worn out from attempting to find money to help the kids in Hamden. I think about her.
Yeah, she's referring to Megan Goodland, who put Benton County on the national map in the 1990s and on national TV. But she was on national TV that also. You can still see that. It's called Children's in America Schools. Bill Moyer from New York. He was on CBS Evening News for years. He went over to PBS later, and he's a national producer. And Eva Marie Saint helped with that. Jeff Hayden, who produced the Andy Griffith Show, and Heat of the Night. Yeah. We had some big timers helping get that high school, and of course a lot of our local people. Dave Booth from Hamden, by the way, and David Treasure.
Yeah.
You know Dave Booth.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And Dave, I have to get Dave in here and play a little fiddle for us. But a lot of people, Mike Shoemaker, the list goes on and on. The school board, Jeff Thacker, the school board at that time, Clyde Hall, it all just came together for Benton County. When Benton County comes together, they're a force to be reckoned with.
That's true. But why stop now? Why stop with new high schools? Why not keep going? And like I said, we're a bunch of little villages in one town. Let's all band together and do big things together.
Well, I think we can do that. And it sounds like, for a little, this is the biggest list Hamden's had in a while to try to get things done. I know the sewer plant was a big deal. Unfortunately, they ran into some problems.
We'll get there.
They worked through it. It is a nice system. It's very modern. And you said it's like anything else. It needs updated once in a while, but it was 15 years ahead of the EPA when it opened.
Yes.
I remember. Japanese system, right? I believe they said.
Yes, it is.
And Kubota. And one thing I remember about Hamden, and Hamden's always had citizens who's cared about it. And I remember a lady that when they talked about consolidating schools, this was a long time ago, Sharon Reckle, when she lived there. You know the Reckles? Did you know them? Hamden's not going to lose a school. A lot of people in Hamden was adamant that they did not lose a school, and they didn't.
We have South Elementary, and it's a beautiful facility. One of our council ladies actually works at that school.
Oh, is that right?
Yeah, Phyllis Henry, she works at that school.
I know some people in town felt wished it hadn't gone out to just outside of town, but the state has, as you know, dealing with finances, the state has put acreage restrictions on buildings. Mm-hmm. And I don't think there was enough acres in Hamden without buying out a whole neighborhood to put it in town anywhere. And so that farm was just kind of suited them. And it was owned by one of the former superintendents. I forget which one, so it kind of...
Charlotte McManus?
No, this was a superintendent a long time ago. I don't remember which one, but I remember Mr. Simmons saying that that property was back in the family, back in the school's hands. But yeah, I think it was owned by a lot of people who work for the schools. It's a beautiful place right outside of town, and you have there's some good businesses in Hamden. You got a good little business community. We mentioned Dollar General, and I think we should mention some of the other ones just to be fair. Certainly the gas and stuff, very civic-minded business. We have the shop,
Hamden Hardware.
the Hamden Hardware. We mentioned them, and boy, if you like, you ever notice do you love to get a bottle of pop out of the old cooler?
Well, yeah, at the car wash. Well, Pappy's Pizza
Pappy's Pizza.
is
Very good.
upcoming. They do some major business in it and out of that little tiny shop. Great food, great people.
Sure is. Their pizzas are on Valentine's Day. Makes a little heart-shaped pizzas. I like that. Yeah, Pappy's Pizza.
They call me Mama Dea. I can call and say I need food.
Mama Dea. Yeah, that's just perfect. They've come to Hamden, a couple, and they do a nice job. And Hamden still has a post office, which is getting to be a rarity in small towns. And some nice neighborhoods. Hamden's coming along, and these improvements will make it even better as we move along into the 21st century. And I really think the coming ideas of openness and showing, getting people involved in the government, this website will help them do that. You mentioned they can make comments.
Yeah.
And the council will know what they're thinking.
There was a program I tried to get passed by council, and it's like an all-call. Like Benton County Sheriff's Office, a lot of the weather apps have it. It's called Text My Gov.
Mm-hmm.
And with that, it's very inexpensive, actually. If there would be a water break or a boil alert or anything like that, or if there was a meeting change, we could text. It would just go out to everybody. Whoever had entered their number online on our website, they would get notification. If there was a car wreck and the state highway was closed down that comes through, and Route 93, they would get a text. If there was a fire within, village limits, they would get a text.
It's funny. You mentioned car fires and car accidents, vehicle situations. We had a situation here in Jackson on Wednesday. One of the paving trucks caught on fire on the app.
I saw that.
And fortunately, a motorist, I think, alerted the paving truck driver that their truck was on fire, and they was able to get it off of the road. And I guess some people here at the corner was trying to put out the fire with their garden hose at their house.
Oh,
before
no.
the fire department got there. So, fortunately, I don't know about the vehicle, but no one got hurt. So that could have been.
That's good.
Because our editor, Pete Wilson, told me later there was a bunch of propane on that truck.
Oh, no.
That could have been very dangerous. The fire department was concerned that could be a very dangerous situation. And, of course, it was amazing that exit was open at 5 o'clock. It's right in the rush hour, right out here by Kentucky Fried Chicken. Everybody's getting dinner, going home from work.
Yeah.
Walmart's out there. There's always traffic out there. So it's amazing that they didn't get stuck on the ramp. I don't know what would have happened then, but, it all worked out. So, yeah, I think emergency notifications is a good idea if you can get that. Council considers that. I know there's a cost to everything, but I think it's a good idea. And do you have anything before we get out of here? Anything down the road? Anything you always considering stuff?
The only thing I have to say is thank you for having me.
Okay.
I'm not trying to take credit for all the new things that's coming into Hamden. I think credit has the least bit of my concern. What I want is what's best for the community and what's best for the kids.
Now, it's a group effort, and council,
correct.
you can't get any of this without council approving.
Not without council.
And the mayor, and you need a good mayor and council and the community to back these things. And
I think our council, even if they disagree on different issues, I think each one of them really has a genuine concern for the community and what's best for the community.
Well, that is just fine. And thanks for watching today, everybody. And Hamden, check out Hamden's new window to the world, their new website, Jason Cruz, Apple City Computers. I just bought a computer from him this week, so he does good work. So we'll just give him a little plug. And you're going to see his handiwork on HamdenOhio.com. Thank you, Dea, so much for being with us. And we'll catch everybody next week with Sean Avery and on the Reds Roundup. Thanks for watching, everybody.